Hi everyone, welcome back to Storytime with Mr. Benggio. We are doing chapter 20 today, The Great Gum Machine. Mr. Wonka led the party over to a gigantic machine that stood in the very center of the inventing room. It was a mountain of gleaming metal that towered high above the children and their parents. Out of the very top of it there sprouted hundreds and hundreds of thin little glass tubes, and the glass tubes all curled downwards and came together in a bunch that hung suspended over an enormous round tub as big as a bath. "Here we go!" cried Mr. Wonka, and he pressed 3 different buttons on the side of the machine. A second later a mighty rumbling sound came from inside it, and the whole machine began to shake most frighteningly, and steam began hissing out of all of it. And then, suddenly, the watchers noticed that running stuff was pouring down the insides of the hundreds of glass little tubes, and squirting out into the great tube below. And in every single tube the runny stuff was a different color, so that all the colors of the rainbow, and many others as well, came sloshing and splashing into the tube. It was a lovely sight, and then the tube was nearly full. Mr. Wonka pressed another button, and immediately the runny stuff disappeared, and a whizzing, whirring noise took its place, and then a giant whizzer started whizzing around inside the enormous tube, mixing up all the different colored liquids like an ice cream soda. Gradually, the mixture began to froth. It became frothier and frothier, and it turned from blue to white, to green, to brown, to yellow, and then back to blue again. "Watch," said Mr. Wonka. Click went the machine, and the whizzer stopped whizzing, and now there came a sort of sucking noise, and very quickly all the blue frothy mixture in a huge basin was sucked back into the stomach of the machine. There was a moment of silence, then a few queer rumblings were heard, then silence again. Then suddenly the machine let out a monstrous mighty groan, and at the same moment a tiny drawer, no bigger than the drawer in a slot machine, popped out of the side of the machine, and in the drawer there lay something so small and thin and grey that everyone thought it must be a mistake. The thing looked like a strip of grey cardboard. The children and the parents stared at the little grey strip lying on the drawer. "You mean that's all?" said Mike. "That's all," answered Mr. Wonka, gazing proudly at the result. "Don't you know what it is?" There was a pause. Then suddenly, for Violet regard, the silly gum-chewing girl let out a yell of excitement. "By gum, it's gum!" she shrieked. "It's a stick of chewing gum." "Right you are!" cried Mr. Wonka, slapping Violet hard on the back. It's a stick of gum. It's a stick of the most amazing and fabulous and sensational gum in the world." That was chapter 20. Come back to find out what happens tomorrow.